So these structures cannot be counted on for the destinies of our nations. They are so unreliable, they are unstable and destructive. Now this calls for revolutionary minds, a way of thinking that is opposed to the established norms, established traditions, and that way of thinking is an external perspective, someone with an external perspective. Hello Kingdom Builders, my name is Carol Gishohi and I'm your good friend here. What I'm about to share with you today will help you in your pioneering journey as you build, will help you navigate through walking a new path that others are gonna come and follow as a pattern setter. So please pay attention. I don't want you to lose me. Today I want to speak on what I'm calling systems thinking or thinking structurally. Because when we talk revolutions, we are talking massive scale change. It's a revolution, it's a massive scale change. And if it is a massive scale change, we are not just looking at individuals, we're looking at systems and structures, the infrastructure of society. Societies have commonly shared set of ideas and belief systems that have shaped culture as it is, and consequently the processes, the ways of operation of the people, the public practices. Now, revolutions stem from a change in this commonly shared set of ideas and belief systems. But for there to be a change in this commonly shared set of ideas, there has to be an introduction of new knowledge. But this new knowledge does not just come out of a vacuum. This new knowledge, this new discovery, new insights, because every revolution is traceable to new knowledge, new discovery, new insight. For instance, the French Revolution that was triggered by the Enlightenment, which is an intellectual movement that ushered in the age of reason. People were moving away from traditions and superstitions and faith and beginning to now embrace scientific discoveries and intellect. There's always an introduction of a new insight, a new information. But this new knowledge does not just come out of a vacuum. This new insight, it is brought into existence through a spiritual technology. Now that's a whole topic, it's a topic on its own. I'm not going to get into that today, probably on another episode. But what you should know for now is that behind every ideology, there is a spirit behind it that is seeking to gain control and influence over a territory in terms of influencing ways of thinking and, consequently the behavioral patterns of the people and public practices. And again, behind every established norm is an ideology that shapes people's way of thinking and obviously the behavioral patterns. So all this insight, this information will eventually materialize or realize itself in the practices, the systems and processes. Behind every ideology that is being propagated in a territory, there is an agenda. And behind every established norm, there is an ideology that influences people's way of thinking and ultimately the behavioral patterns, the processes, the practices, the ways of operation. Now, that tells you societies are held in place by the ideologies they were built upon. The set of ideas. To create a new order, you'll have to challenge those ideologies. You'll have to challenge the dominant ideologies that were propagated and shaped culture, that shaped people's way of thinking so that they ended up with a collective way of looking at things. But the problem is that you cannot challenge a system that you yourself are a part of. You cannot challenge ideologies that have also shaped your mindset. You cannot be part of this commonly shared set of ideas and challenge those same ideas. It doesn't make sense. Now, this calls for revolutionary minds, a way of thinking that is opposed to the established norms, established traditions, the dominant ideologies, the dominant habits of thought that have been shaped by these dominant ideologies. And that way of thinking is an external perspective, someone with an external perspective. And this external perspective is God's point of view, the kingdom perspective. This is what I'm going to say. The prevailing structures in our society today were built entirely on human concepts, human philosophies and human wisdom without the acknowledgement of God. That's why it's called the secular system, the secular world, secular system. Now, the problem with this civilization, this way of organizing society, is that man is unstable. Man is unstable in the sense that one day you're living by your values, the next moment pressure causes you to compromise, which is the nature of man, and it is understandable. So these structures cannot be counted on for the destinies of our nations. They are so unreliable, they are unstable and destructive. And another thing that makes this civilization faulty is that man is limited. And so they are subject to human limitations. No matter how much effort we put in solving societal problems, they are failing. They're failing us in addressing the most pressing issues in society. Like we keep going around cycles. The problems keep persisting and they keep recurring because man can only do so much. Now next week, in our next episode, I will take it a notch higher. I'm gonna take it a notch higher, and I will just share with you how to bring this external perspective, or how to achieve this external perspective, because we cannot influence change within a territory by thinking like it. We need a fresh perspective, an external perspective that is opposed to the public, the way people look at things. Yeah. That is what we'll be looking at next week. So I've given you something to anticipate. Please subscribe, and I'm going to see you next week. I post on weekly basis. Every Thursday, there's going to be a new upload. So please subscribe, and I'm going to see you on the next episode. Bye.